Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. Just give me a few seconds before I share the screen. So we're discussing on different aspects. First thing we are seeing that how uh, by knowing different ways of getting entangled, we'll be free from that entanglement. That's the reason in this chapter, in the beginning, we see that the description of uh, the entanglement is given. And then we saw the family of Dhruva. We are seeing in such a elite families also. We are getting affected by different anarthas, and there are problems in such great families like Swayambhu Manu. And then we discussed how Uttanapada was attached to the pleasure which he was getting from his wife, Suruchi, and that's the reason she was able to control him. So it is his weakness. It is not actually Suruchi's fault in one level, because she understands that somebody is depending on me. This is actually another very important thing to know. Initially, if husband is controlled by wife, it looks like it's very good for, means she may be.
Right. So we're discussing how initially it looks like okay now like if husband is attached to the wife, it is like she may initially appreciate that okay he's attached to me, but later on she will feel it as a burden only. So this is also a very important thing to understand that in a long run because she want to take shelter of somebody who's very strong. She don't want somebody who's very weak. Initially, it is good that husband is depending. I'm able to control my husband and he is doing whatever I say. But in a long run, it don't make her happy. Even the person also. She will feel that burden on her only. But if a person is very strong, he is able to uh, uh, mm, take decisions and remain strong. So initially, it is a little difficult for her, but later on, she understands that okay, I can take shelter of this person. He is strong. So like. So here Uttanapada, of course, is very strong. He's empowered by Supreme Lord. Men should control whatever is outside, like the society and all. Men should control, and at home, women should be in control. So that's how the system works, and very peaceful system. Nowadays, what is happening is that women are not feeling secure. Women are not feeling protected. The reason why is that they are not behaving like women. That's the reason. If a woman behaves like woman, then she will feel protected. If she is trying to become man and trying to take control, then the man will not feel that because man has this purusha bhav. He want to give protection, he want to give shelter. But he will give shelter to somebody who comes as protection. That means there should be positive and negative. So woman is like negative. But if she takes the role of a man, then man will not feel that. That's the reason nowadays things marriages are not working. because women are earning and they are also having all the things, they are doing all the things of men. So because of which it becomes difficult also for man. He says, okay, she has everything. She don't need me. So he'll also not give any protection. So this is a very different topic, but I just thought I'd make a point. But of course, men are also not responsible. That's why women has to work. There is a fault on woman, man's side also. Why woman has to work and have money. Even till the medieval ages, women were not working. Even after industrial revolution started in Europe, from that time onwards, women started working because the financial situations were becoming very bad. With one person's income, the house was not able to be maintained. So that's the reason women started working. And then things became very complicated. And uh, we cannot say it's all gray actually. It's not who is right, who is wrong. It's all complicated. We cannot blame anyone. The whole situation ended up in like this because we cannot, one person we can blame easily without any, without offending anybody is Kali. We say, yeah, time is like that. So Kali is like that. So it's a time. So in that way, we can be politically right and escape from the situation. Anything happens, we say what can be done. Time is like that, right? So anyway, the point here is that uh, this is one separate aspect. Anyway, so here Sunichi, she explained to, she say she's trying to control Tanpada, and in that way she uh, insulted Dhruv Maharaj. And Dhruv Maharaj immediately he went to his mother crying. And Suniti, she is such a great mother. She gives such valuable instructions. The first thing she says is we should not wish anything inauspicious for others. Such a nice instruction. What happens is we are not damaging ourselves. This is a very important point. If you don't wish anything inauspicious for others, it is not that that person is getting, oh, I wish something bad and bad happened to him. But actually, just by wishing bad for others, we are damaged ourselves more than what the person got other side. So anything we are wishing bad for others, we are damaging ourselves more. What Suniti did is she protected Dhruva from going in that zone. This is victim mentality. Most of the people have this in Kali Yuga, victim mentality. So she is trying to protect Dhruva from being in a victim mentality. And for that, she gives the next point. What she says, whatever has been spoken, Vasuruchi is so because the king, your father, does not consider me his wife or even his maidservant. He feels ashamed. Therefore, it is a fact that you have taken birth in an unfortunate woman. So, and don't go to victim mentality. This is come out of victim mentality. This is a very important understanding that we always have this, my situation is because of him, my situation is because of him, I am suffering because of somebody else. We are not suffering because of somebody else, we are suffering because of ourselves only. That is should be very clear, right? And then she further says that, my dear boy, whatever has been spoken by Suruchi, your stepmother, although very harsh to hear, is factual. Therefore, if you desire at all to sit on the same throne as your stepbrother, then give up your envious attitude. This is such a valuable instruction. You know, uh, that means she is protecting from victim mentality and helping him not to damage himself also. This is also very important point to understand that uh, we want to grow higher and higher. We should give up our envious attitude. And I have seen also people who are taking very higher and higher in leadership also, they are more mature. They are not envious. They can deal with many people. If we are envious, we cannot deal with many people. Anyway, so, and if we want to deal with Supreme Lord, we should be completely free from envy. Then only we can deal with him. Otherwise, we cannot deal with Supreme Lord. More we are mature, more we can handle the situation. So, and then she told, then you worship the Supreme Lord. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsarana. Right? And that means we should meditate with pure consciousness. And we discussed that offenses are very much emphasized in our, like, why not to commit offenses is so much in our sampradaya. Others are also there, but we focus on it more because we want to get something very, very subtle, very fine thing. So we should be free from that offensive mentality. That's why we so much focus on it. And then the next point was Suniti continued. The Supreme Personality is so great that simply by worshipping his lotus feet, your great grandfather Lord Brahma acquired the necessary qualifications to create this universe. Although he is unborn and is the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom even great yogis worship by controlling mind and regulating the air, life air, prana. Now she is giving, she is trying to give him faith by giving an example of his own great grandfather, so Brahma. So they are not in a very small family. Suniti cited the example. Hare Krishna. Sorry, there was some problem. So now she is giving faith. To give faith, now we need to give examples. So that helps us to. So Brahma did penances and he became. To become successful in any attempt, one not only has to undergo severe penance and austerities, but also must be dependent on the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This indication has been given to Dhruv Maharaj by his stepmother and was now confirmed by his own mother. So even though Suruchi, she said out of jealous or whatever quality, whatever, no, with ill intention, but ultimately it worked for Dhruv Maharaj. It worked for him because she told the right thing. So what here Suniti did, gave faith. She is giving faith. And what Prabhupada is telling, that we must depend on the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means people say just work hard, you'll achieve success and you can win, you can become successful, this, that. So many things are there. So people, for this success, they make so many things. They undergo severe penances, austerities, and so many other things. So for Kali Yuga also, like presently, people work hard, focus on the goal, and so many other things are there. But ultimately, it all depends on the mercy of Supreme Lord only, whether to become big Elon Musk or not. He may be thinking that he is because of or the President of America or Prime Minister of India or anything. Anybody in any post or any success is just because of Supreme Lord. If Supreme Lord just removes, decides that okay, now enough, and the person is in oblivion, he will not be fine. You will not know only his name. Nobody will know the name. Like so many such great personalities appeared in this world and they disappeared, and nobody knows. We may hardly know some, maybe some kings of Roman Empire and some kings of some Egyptian empire, and that's all. And there are so many other lists which we may not even know also. They existed and went away. The point is what is, it's all because of Supreme Lord. Whom he want to highlight, whom he don't, the star will shine for that person, he shines for some time and then finish. It all depends on the mercy of Supreme Lord. This indication has been given to Dhruva Maharaj. So only mercy of Supreme Lord works. We should not be proud of our material achievements. That is another important lesson we can learn. That unnecessarily, we should not be proud. Okay, it's something I made, something I did. Oh, it's all the Supreme Lord. And so, even though there are few shlokas, but Suniti was really doing good job. So, first instruction she gave is don't think ill of others. So this is the first instruction she gave. And second thing is, this is, we can say, don't, you can give your own title, I'm giving my titles. And second thing she says, come out of the victim mentality. And third thing she says here is, don't be envious. Keep your heart clean, mind clean. You keep clean consciousness. No envy. And then now here she says that she gives example of Brahma. So she is trying to give him faith, increase his faith. And now the next instruction says, Sunita informed her son, your grandfather, Swayambhu Manu, executed great austerities with distribution of charity, and thereby with unflinching faith and devotion, he worshipped and satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By acting in that way, he achieved the greatest success in material happiness and afterwards achieved liberation, which is impossible to obtain by worshipping the demigods. So now she is trying to make him more focused. He said, no need to go to anybody else, just to go to Supreme Lord. Your grandfather did, so great grandfather did, and your grandfather also did the same thing. He just took shelter of Supreme Lord and he achieved all material happiness and achieved liberation. Both the things he got, only Supreme Lord, exclusive. No need of anybody else, no need of. So she's trying to make him become one-pointed, focused. And Prabhupada is telling the success of one's life is measured by one's material happiness in the life and liberation in next. Such success can be achieved only by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eka Matya means concentrating one mind on the Lord's without deviation. So that means we should not go to anybody. Ananya Bhak. This process of undeviated worship of Supreme Lord is also expressed in Bhagavad Gita as Ananya Bhak. That which is impossible to obtain from any other source is also mentioned here. That means there is always a tendency in us to take help of somebody. And I have seen also people when they are in great distress and then they may be devotees, but suddenly if they say, okay, go to this person, it works for you. And sometimes it works also. Interestingly, I have seen some situations where people were going in great distress and they went to some Baba and immediately said, okay, tomorrow onwards it will not happen to you. And it works like that. And now they have that Baba. And they are so much faith on some other person who has done such thing for them. And now when you tell, Array, it's all supreme, I said, no, don't talk anything about my Baba. You may tell anything to do, I'll do, but he has saved me from these situations. And sometimes 2, 3 incidents happens in their life. They went through really tough time and they go to that person and it says, okay, I'll not tell the Baba's name. I don't want to tempt you, spoil your, but it works. Now, whether it is that next day onwards they are free from that karma, they got out of it, or because of Baba saying it, they got out of it. So I'm not sure what happens. Okay. So, so the point, and now for them, for some Baba and all, now to not to believe in and not to accept him, it becomes very difficult. This is whatever he is helping me. I want to take his help. And whatever he says, they will do it also. Sometimes they will tell to do some weird things, they will do it because see what the practical thing is like I am going through some situations very bad and you are telling chant Hare Krishna. I don't know where is Krishna, but this Baba is in front of me. He works. So there is always the temptation. The Prabhupada is writing that that which is impossible to obtain for any other source is also mentioned here. Other sources refers to worship of demigods. It is especially stressed here that the opulence of Manu was due to his undeviating faithfulness in the transcendental service of Lord. One who diverts his mind to worshipping many demigods to obtain material happiness is considered bereft of intelligence. If anyone wants even material happiness, he can worship Hare Krishna. I am really sorry. Actually, there is some problem with the internet, and it every time happens. And there is the problem. There is one some comment in chat box. Problem may be solved, but definitely we fall down from pure devotional service and simply prolong our stay in this material world. Moreover, all this is Maya's way of testing our chastity towards the process and teaching of our beloved acharyas. Yeah, that is true. We get tempted because it is easy to get something. I also know some techniques of coming out of problems, which are not pure devotional. Where to go, what mantra to chant? Because my father is like, he is, he also gives some this mantra to chant, this mantra to chant. Of course, I didn't pay much attention to that. But I can also find and tell some, but it's no need actually, all these things. Hare Krishna is sufficient. Actually, I understood one thing that if we keep our mind clean and we will be aloof from the problem. So that is what we have to achieve at the end of the day, end of the life. That I should just take shelter of holy name, take shelter of holy name, because problems cannot be solved in this material world. No matter how much we do, we cannot solve problems only. One problem after another will anyway going to come. So what is the point in always fighting with trying to solve the problems? Better to transcend the problems. But what happens is that situation we cannot handle only. So we need somehow get out of it. At that time we had to resist ourselves and then take shelter of holy name. Try our best. I know it is not so easy. When people go through problems, they want to get out of it at any cost. They say, I cannot handle it anymore. You give me some other solution. Hare Krishna is okay, but let me do some Narsimha Yajna, some puja, some mantra. Okay, two solutions I give, even though it is uh, bona fide. But one is our Mayapur nursing is called Dr. Narsimhadev. Any problem is there, you get puja of nursing then Mayapur. Second is you can tell Jagannath that I will offer a flag to Jagannath. It just costs 500 to 800 rupees. You can on Jagannath Puri temple, they change the flag of Jagannath every day. You say, let me count out this situation of Jagannath. Jagannath is very massive. I'll put a flag uh, on your temple. So yes, Gail Mataji.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. When you say we should keep our mind clean, by that you simply mean we should just depend on Krishna for everything, or can you just elaborate what you mean by that?
Yeah, I'm telling of when I told about clean in when Suniti told don't think ill of others, that was a different point I was telling about cleanness, that we don't think ill of others, we don't hear ill of others. Because yesterday I was explaining, you remember that this whole Kali Yuga time, it's very offensive. And because it is very offensive, to survive here, we also became very offensive. So we always keep on hearing negative. The whole news is negative. Whether you are hearing negative about Trump or Elon Musk or about Israel or Russia or China, something or other, always negative only we hear, or we try to portray them in a negative way. So that's an offensive, which damages our mind. So we have to keep our mind clean. That's why we try to avoid such news and all, to keep ourselves free from all these contaminations and remain innocent, so that we will be able to chant the holy name. And coming out of victim mentality, not blaming others for our situations. And also to also by not becoming envious. That's what is. Also, when the temptations comes to take shelter of any other personalities, any other demigods also, there also we try to avoid. We try to be very chaste to Supreme Lord, not to go in that direction.
Oh, yeah. What was this last one? You said not to take shelter of anybody but the Lord. Is that what you
Anybody
said?
other than Supreme Lord. So that is also a contamination. We have exclusive faith on Krishna. because that temptation is also there. Okay, this works very fast, so let me take shelter of this.
Yeah. You know, one thing that occurred to me just now when you were explaining how to keep the mind clean, and you're saying, you know, we hear negative things in political arena, you know. So I just found it interesting that even among very well respected and elevated devotees, you know, in our ISKCON circles, you know, we will hear them give like negative commentary on political figures, you know. So I don't know. It's like I'm not sure what kind of. In light of your discussion, you know, I'm just thinking maybe that's not the best um, example to set. You know, even though they have the position that they have, but they are, you know, making it known, you know, their political leanings. You know. Anyway.
Yeah, actually, this happens. Maybe sometimes just to make the discussion light, they may make some comment. But if they are just discussing on it for a long time, then that is not correct. Like say sometime, like I made a statement like like I'm telling the names of some personalities, but to make understand the situation or make it little light, but not to just to tell about the person how he is bad, what all he is doing. That is not needed. Everybody knows that person behaves according to his nature. Whatever he is, he behaves. So we
Yeah.
are not anything negative about him, because we
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Sometimes it's not just to make the situation light. They are, you know, they do spend time sometimes, you know, which I always find very actually distasteful or polarizing, you know, because immediately, you know, politics is like religion, you know, you polarize people immediately when you take sides like that, you know. And I'm telling you, this not always brought up to just in a light way, you know. They're really making a statement. But anyway, that's the situation.
Yeah, actually, they may not get affected, but some people who are in the audience, if they are not strong enough, they will get affected.
Mm.
Yeah, because we hear anything negative, immediately we take it. Some people may take it more seriously. They may not take it in a light mood. So it definitely damages.
Mm.
Yeah, and nowadays the Hindu, Muslim, and all these things in India, these things are also so much propagated, and devotees post in their status and in groups and all. This is also will damage their chanting. They don't understand it. If I am posting anything negative about any other community, religion, that will damage. It's not our duty of devotees to do because it is damaging their chanting. So why to take chance for their chanting?
Yeah, the reason why it's damaging to the chanting is why, because it'll be like a distraction. You'll think about that more than the holy name,
No, no,
or
not just distraction. It is anything negative, we lose our innocence, we lose our anything negative. So here, envy, jealousy, hatred, all the things are going to damage. So when I sit for chanting, why I am not able to focus on holy name is because of all these anarthas in the heart. Otherwise, no one name of Krishna we take, immediately tears should come in ecstasy. Why it is not happening? Because of all these things only, and I am having all these things and I am reinforcing it by hearing it again and again and trying to go in that direction. How it will work? So the offense is there actually. The negativity is there, so we don't want to deal with all these things. We just want to focus on holy name and Krishna. And even Krishna is not changing anything in this material world. He knows that nothing can be changed here. He comes trying to establish some dharma, goes back. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he did not change any Mughal empire in India. He just preached Krishna consciousness and he left. Even Prabhupada tried to change. He wanted to remove British empire and want to support Gandhi. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, no, it does not work like this.
okay.
Real freedom is freedom from the mind. So freedom of mind is real freedom. So we have to make our mind free from all these situations. Why to get again entangled in the situations?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Prabhu, but it's just not. Um, I just need a little more help with understanding why it is more than just like a distraction. In other words, when we think of offenses, right? We think of offenses against devotees. If you think negatively about politicians or whatever, how come that alienates us from the holy name?
Yeah, because what is happening is our mind is very, very subtle. So any impression on it, it has an effect. And we have to, like, say, I don't offend. Okay, I sit in front of TV and I watch 2 hours of Hollywood movie and I sit for chanting. Can I focus on chanting? I
And
did
that's
not
why I
offend
said
anyone.
it's a distraction. That's why I'm saying it's
So yeah, um, uh, so that's how. So it's not just distraction. The impressions are also there, na? Means you can say it as distraction, but the impressions are so deeper. Now, for me to focus on the holy name, the whole impressions are coming. Of course, we can call it as distraction, but it is not like gross distraction. I can switch off my TV, I can switch off my mobile, but in the mind, it is the impressions are causing me coming up again and again and damaging me, my chanting.
yeah.
So it is subtle distraction, you can say. It's not gross distraction. Certainly it is disturbing.
Okay,
I say
so can
I
you?
am not now I say when I chant now, I don't think of all this politics. But when you're sitting for chanting, you cannot focus also. You just mind is not holding on to the holy name.
And
That is the point.
you're saying it's because of subtle impressions that are not.
So now you say when I sit for chanting, I don't think of Trump. But when you sit for chanting, are your mind holding on to the holy name? That is also not happening, no?
But how can I know that it's because of whatever negative political thing I'm thinking or news thing, anything in the news? I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not,
you sit for
I'm not,
chanting, and if you are
I'm not
not able to hold
consciously
the holy
thinking.
name, that's the point is that somewhere we damaged our thing, our mind. So don't you give an exercise for yourself. For 1 week you don't hear any news. For 1 week you don't see any of these things, and then you
Mm.
sit on chanting. You see if your quality of holy name chanting of holy name is improving. Then you will immediately you will know. Okay, this is actually working. You try for
Okay.
yourself.
Uh-huh. Okay, so you're saying that even if when we sit for chanting, we don't, let's say, consciously think of all of these other things. It is still because of those other things that
Yeah,
we're not
we are
able to
concentrate.
concentrate.
Yes, that is the point.
Mm. Okay.
So that's the reason why the sages go to Himalayas. Why they have to go to Himalayas for meditating? Because they don't want any material distraction, no material sound, no material vibrations, no material situations. Why they can sit at home and meditate? No, it won't work like that. You have to go there. But for us, we cannot go. Sthane sthita stutigatan tanuvan manobir. Brahma is telling, and Krishna is also telling that okay, you cannot go to Himalayas and do all these things. No, at least be at home, but don't cause any offenses. Don't get why it is told associating with non-devotees is worse than embracing a snake, embracing a tiger, embracing a alligator, which is much safer than to associate non-devotees because it is damaging the mind. This fellow will damage the only body; he will kill you, but that fellow will kill your mind. It is said
Mm.
better to stay in a cage filled with fire than to associate with non-devotees. Why such heavy statements are there in the Puranas?
Mm.
Because to say that how dangerous it is for our mind.
Mm-hmm.
That is the point.
Okay. Thank you, Boo.
Nice. I am not following. I also get damaged.
Mm.
Oh. Yeah, so
You
we'll
know, it
continue.
would just be, it's just, you know, it would just be easier to get inspired in this way if we could see that direct connection, you know. But like this, we have to just go on faith that this is what's the problem. Or you, like you said, we can make that experiment. You know?
Yeah, that experiment actually makes us develop faith. Like
Mm-hmm.
I go to Vrindavan, it is easy to chant there. And then you, for 1 week, 10 days, 20 days, you just are focusing on anything. You didn't hear anything material. Immediately you can see the quality of consciousness, the quality of the way we are dealing with devotees. Everything changes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Immediately has an effect.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. And then Suniti continues, my dear boy, you also should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Persons seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, just situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart and without deviation for a moment, engage always in his service. So now she is giving her final instructions in this way that take shelter of Supreme Lord, and he is also glorifying the Supreme Lord that he is very kind to his devotees. That means your success is guaranteed if you take shelter of Supreme Lord. And she says, persons seeking liberation from cycle of birth and always take shelter of the Supreme Lord in devotional service. And becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, just situate. And without deviation for a moment. That means constantly you have to engage in the service of Supreme Lord. So he is telling that Supreme success is guaranteed. The system of Bhakti Yoga described by Queen Suniti to her son is the standard way of God realization. Everyone can continue in his constitutional occupational duty and at the same time keep the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. This is also instruction of Lord himself to Arjuna and Bhagavad Gita. Go on fighting, but keep me within your mind. That should be the motto of every honest person seeking perfection in Krishna consciousness. In this connection, Kunsuniti advised her son that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhritya Vatsala, which indicates that he is very kind to his devotees. She said, you came to me crying, having been insulted by your stepmother, but I am unable to do any good for you. But Krishna is so kind to his devotees that if you go to him, then the combined kindness of millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by his affectionate and tender dealings. This is one of the very famous things. The combined kindness of millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by affectionate and tender dealings. So Lord is more kind than millions of mothers. So when everyone else fails to mitigate one's misery, Krishna is able to help the devotees. So Queen Suniti also stressed that the process of approaching Supreme Personality of Godhead is not easy, but is sought after by great sages who are very advanced in spiritual realization. When Suniti also indicated by her instructions that Dhruva Maharaj was only a small boy, 5 years old, it is not possible for him to purify himself by the law of Karma Kanda. But by the process of uh, Bhakti Yoga, even a child less than 5 years old or anyone of any age can be purified. That is a special significance of Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, she advised him not to accept the worship of demigods or any other process, but simply to take to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the result would be all perfection. So this is what is, the result is all perfection. As soon as one places the Supreme Personality of God in one's heart, everything becomes easy and successful. What did we read? Yeah, success is guaranteed. So Prabhupada also says the same thing. Everything becomes easy and successful because Lord's kindness. Then millions of mothers. Why she told mother? Because Dhruva came to mother. She said, Are you are coming to me. I can give you some affection, but go to Supreme Lord. He can give you millions of mother's love. Because Dhruva took shelter of mother. Mother said, You took shelter of me. I am not able to do anything. But same thing, you take shelter. Supreme Lord can fulfill your desire and can give love also. So it worked for Dhruva Maharaj. And she says, this is also, all mothers should be like this. My dear Dhruva Maharaj, as far as I am concerned, I do not find anyone who can mitigate your distress but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose eyes are like lotus petals. Many demigods, such as Lord Brahma, seek pleasure of the goddesses of fortune. But Goddess of Fortune herself, with a lotus flower in her hand, is always ready to render service to the Supreme Lord. Now she started glorifying the Supreme Lord. She is telling that I do not, you go to Supreme Lord, only He can help you. And huge purport by Prabhupada. So Niti pointed out herein that the benediction received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that received from the demigods are not on an equal level. Foolish persons say that no matter whom one worships, one will get the same result. But actually, that is not a fact. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that benediction received from the demigods are all temporary and are meant for less intelligent. In other words, because the demigods are all materialistically conditioned souls, although they are situated in very exalted position, their benedictions cannot be permanent. Permanent benediction is spiritual benediction, since the spirit soul is eternal. It is also said in Bhagavad Gita that only persons who have lost their intelligence go to worship the demigod. Therefore, Suniti told her son that he should not seek the mercy of demigod, but should directly oppose the Supreme Personality of God to mitigate his misery. Because he came to his mother, so there is a tendency that he may go to somebody else bigger, greater than her mother. He may go to Swayambhu Manu, he may go to Brahma, he may go to some other demigod. And he says, My mother did not work for me. You help me to get something better. But Suniti is telling, No, don't do. You came to me, but don't go to anybody like how you came to me. Better go to Supreme Lord. You know, because Dhruva immediately could see his mother because he's a small boy. So she's telling, You are seeing me as something very big. For children, mother and father are like demigods only. So when we are very small, we look at our parents like demigods because they do everything for us. And we try to be in their good books so that we get our things fulfilled. But Suniti is telling, No, don't go to demigods. Material opulence are controlled by Supreme Personality of God, although his different potencies and uh, specifically the goddesses of fortune. Therefore, those who are after material opulence seek the pleasure or mercy of the goddesses of fortune. Even the highly placed demigods worship the goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune, Mahalakshmi herself, is always seeking the pleasure of Supreme Personality of God. Anyone, therefore, who takes the worship of the Supreme Lord automatically receives the blessings of goddesses of fortune. At this stage of his life, Dhruv Maharaj was seeking material opulence, and his mother advised rightly that even for material opulence, it is better to worship not the demigods but the Supreme Lord. So it is very genuine. That's why she could tell him. So this is also another problem. Like Suniti, she is not going for a temporary solution herself. She could have told, okay, let us go to Swayambhu Manu. He is my father-in-law. He should do justice for what happened to you. Or let us go to your great-grandfather Brahma, who will give us justice. Why your father is ill-treating me? Not only ill-treating me, he is ill-treating you also. So let us solve the problem by going to these people and ask for justice. So she is not doing herself, and she is also knowing the root cause of problem and root solution also. So now instead of blaming and all, she's trying to take a permanent solution, and not only her doing, she is also advising her son. So this is how a great personality is. Suniti, the mother of Dhruva, was a foreseeing woman, and therefore she advised her son to worship the Supreme Lord and no one else. The Lord is described herein as a lotus-eyed, Padma Palasa Lochanat. When a person is fatigued, if he sees a lotus flower, all his fatigue can be immediately reduced to nil. Similarly, when a aggrieved person sees the lotus face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, immediately all his grief is reduced. The lotus flower is also an insignia in the hands of inside in the hands of Lord Vishnu, as well as in the hands of Goddess of Fortune. The worshippers of Goddess of Fortune and Lord Vishnu together are certainly very opulent in all respects, even in material life. The Lord is sometimes described as Shiva Virinchinutam. Wow, this is very famous verse of uh, Bhagavatam 11th canto. Because this verse we discussed, remember at Chaitanya Gaur Purnima time, glorification of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which means that Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma also offer their respectful obeisances unto Supreme Lord, unto the Supreme Lord Narayana. So in this verse, she is advising him that don't take shelter of anyone. So, and further, so in that way, she ended her valuable instructions to Dhruva, and that was sufficient for him. He's quite intelligent boy. The great sage Maitreya continued. The instructions of Dhruva Maharaj's mother, Suniti, were actually meant for fulfilling his desired objective. Therefore, after deliberate consideration and with intelligence and fixed determination, he left his father's house. That's all. Wow, what a nice instructions. She two times told only Supreme Lord and finished. This fellow went to the forest, and we should also get such. First things he says, don't think ill of others. Then he says, give up your victim mentality and don't be envious. And she gave the example of Brahma, and 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 then she gives how Brahma took shelter, and she says that only Supreme Lord, no need of any other person. She gave example of Swayambhu Manu, and then she says success will be guaranteed. Lord is very kind. He has love of millions of mothers, and in the end she says, okay, just Supreme Lord, nobody else. Finish. And now the instructions of Dhruva Maharaj's mother Suniti were actually meant for fulfilling his desired objective. Therefore, after deliberate consideration and with intelligence and fixed determination, he left his father's home. This is He's so intelligent and he's very determined, and he's very thoughtful. He's deliberating. Now, what Prabhupada says, both the mother and son were lamenting Dhruva Maharaj having been insulted by his stepmother and his father's not having taken any step on this issue. But mere lamentation is useless. This is the point. He did not end up in victim mentality. That means mere lamentation is useless. One should find out the means to mitigate one's lamentation. That also, they should not go for temporary solutions. Because Suniti is very intelligent. She did not go to her father-in-law Swayambhu Manu or her grandfather Brahma. Thus, both mother and son decided to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord because that is the only solution to all material problems. So, both son decided to take shelter of the. That is only solution for all material problems. It is indicated in this connection that Dhruva Maharaj left his father's capital city to go to a secluded place to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the instruction of Prahlad Maharaj also that if one is seeking peace of mind, he should free himself from all contamination of family life. Because family life means it is full of envy only. Why family life is full of envy? If you remember the second canto, first chapter, where Deha Patra Kalatrādishu Atma Sannesha Satsapi Tesham Pramatto Nidanam Pashyannapi na Pashyati. In that the translation, Prabhupada writing, the envious householder. As soon as we say that this is mine, we become envious. Because that means something is not mine, it is others' property. Then we start seeing the difference, mine and his. Then there will be envy because there is a comparison. My car is smaller than his car, and my car is bigger, my house is bigger, my children are better than him, my wife is better than beautiful than his, my husband is more handsome than her. So all this comparison comes. And comparison means then there is always an envy. Certainly that comes. Oh, their children are doing better than my children. Their children, all of them, they went to America and then Trump sent them back deported because they don't have visa. So whatever. So the point here is that there is a comparison and that causes envy. So as soon as you say mine, that means we create a border. So that's the reason all contamination of family life. So family life is contamination. This is not possible that we will not be envious. It is unless they are very great personalities where they are not attached. So here it is not just saying I am mine. It's actually basically it's an attachment. I am making all these statements. Don't think that I am free from all this. Of course, no wife and children, so I can make some statements. But otherwise, if I am in the situation, I will be happily attached and I will be envious. Now also I am envious. I may not be very grossly envious, but there is certainly it is there. That's why I am in this metal world and metal world. But I am telling what is the principle. So uh, it's a disclaimer before only that I am telling not that I don't have, but I am telling it for everyone to know what is the truth. And you can figure it out how to come out of it. So here, Prahlad is telling to his father, Tatsadu manye suravarya dehina sada samudvigna diyam asatgrihayat Hitvatpakam grihamanda kupam vanam gatoit harimashrayat. You go to Vana and Ashraya, go to Mahavan, Vrindavan, and you take shelter of. It says that Graha anda kupam. This family life is a deep, dark well. Why? Because we can't understand, we can't see the reality. Our mind is caught up with all these attachments and envy. So that is the point there, which Prahlad is trying to emphasize. To the Gaudiya Vaishnava, this forest is a forest of Vrinda or Vrindavana. If one takes shelter of Vrindavan under the Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radharani, certainly all the problems of his life are solved very easily. That means you leave your family, business, and all these things, go to Vrindavan. 90% of the problem is already solved because you don't have family and house and business. You just have to sit in Vrindavan and somehow do some adhikari, get some prasadam, and hold a chant. So almost the problem is anyway solved if you go to Vrindavan. And remaining whatever is there, Srimati Radharani will take care, giving food. Nobody in Vrindavan goes hungry. That is for sure. Radharani make sure that nobody is hungry in Vrindavan. So not a problem. So very nice solution Prabhupada is giving. And Dhruva Maharaj also goes to Madhuvan only. The great sage Narada overheard this news and understanding all the activities of Dhruva Maharaj, he was struck with wonder. He approached Dhruva and touching the boy's head with his all virtuous hand, he spoke as follows. Oh, things go so fast. That time you don't need of any WhatsApp or any no internet messages. You have all this subtle way of communicating with people. So any incident happened in the creation, it can be known by all these great sages without switching on to their internet and mobiles. They can immediately know what is happening and then they approach. Like when they came to know Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, immediately they all started coming towards Hastinapur. They know something important is going to happen. Now, how did they know that he got cursed? Some know that he's going to get cursed before only. They started walking long back. With all their disciples, they started, it says, Chalo, let us go. 2 months before only they started walking to Hastinapur because they come to know that something is going to happen and we all have to be in that place. So there is a different way of communicating. And like even now also, if you know some people, they can tell that they are going to die in a particular, they are going to leave their body in a particular day. And they predict also, even not not devotees, outsiders also, I have seen. They say, okay, I have seen in my families only, the grandfather or somebody, was connected. Not my own grandfather, but others. So he told all the family members, okay, take all your dinner very fast. And they didn't understand why he's telling, no, no, all of you eat fast. And then they all took dinner, and at 7 o'clock in the evening, he sat in the chair and he left his body. He knows that he's going to leave. And some people they say also, okay, I think my time came, now I'm leaving. So some people get this indication. How they know? So that's like that. So it's a subtle law. They come to know, they do it. And here also Narada came to know, and he's also approaching. When Dhruva Maharaj and the translation is overheard this news. That means somebody else also came to know, not only Narada Muni. But Narada Muni immediately felt compassion. When Dhruva Maharaj was talking with his mother Suniti of all the incidents that has taken place in the palace, Narada was not present. Thus the question may be raised, how Narada overheard all these topics? The answer is that Narada is Trikalagnya. He is so powerful that he can understand the past, future, and present of everyone's heart, just like the super soul, the supreme personality of God. Therefore, after understanding the sound determination of Dhruva Maharaj, Narada came to help him. It may be explained in this way. The Supreme Personality of God, it is present in everyone's heart. And as soon as he understood that a living entity is serious about entering devotional service, he sends his representative. So this is also what Prabhupada wants us to understand, that whenever we show some sincerity to know what is truth, immediately Krishna makes arrangement that we end up. So all of us, we came to ISKCON. The reason is because we had somewhere desired that I want to know about Lord. And Krishna made all the arrangement that we ended up with association of Prabhupada. So that is how it happened. It is Krishna's arrangement, and that's what Prabhupada is writing in the next line. Chaitanya Charitamrita, It is explained Chaitanya Cheta. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lapita Beach. By the gaze of spiritual master Krishna, one can enter into devotional service. Because Dhruva Maharaj's determination, Krishna, the super soul, immediately sent his representative Narada to initiate him. So this is the procedure that happens. How wonderful are the now Narada is actually this is a very nice understanding Dhruva Narada is giving to us. He says, how wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas. They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. And this is very nice. The qualifications of the Kshatriyas are described in Bhagavad Gita. Two important qualifications are to have a sense of prestige and not to flee from the battle. Stairyam daksha, yuddhe chapi apalayanam, dhaksham, yuddhe chapi apalayanam. It appears that the Kshatriya blood within the body of Dhruva Maharaj was naturally very active. If the Brahminical, Kshatriya or Vaishya culture is maintained in a family, naturally the sons and the grandsons inherit the spirit of the particular class. Therefore, according to Vedic system, the sanskara or the reformatory system is maintained very rigidly. When fails to observe the reformatory measures currently in the family, one is immediately degraded to a lower standards of life. And I have seen also, somebody is born in a Vaishya family, na? From 15, 16 years only, he starts making money. And he will be making good money. You know, the blood is also Vaishya blood. They always think in that way and they know how to make money. And somebody Kshatriya, his spirit is Kshatriya spirit. He is for every small thing he is ready to fight. He says, how can we tolerate? And Brahmana is like anytime he want to learn something new. You may send him to moon also, he will learn something there. He will not live. Every time, till the end of life, he is going to learn. In the deathbed also, he will learn something and die. He is a Brahmana. So, the spirit is like that. And Kshatriya spirit. Of course, now it's all mixed. We don't have pure Kshatriya, pure Brahmana, pure Vaishyas. But still the spirit is there. Still. And the Kali Yuga made everything bad. No, we don't get. What happened is when Britishers, they wanted to establish first university in India, Banaras Hindu University. And they made the university, but there was a problem. They want to appoint professors. And no Brahmana was ready only. Because they said, you come and teach, we'll pay you. And Brahmanas got offended. He said, how can we work for payment? We are Brahmanas. We cannot work under anybody and take salary. No Brahmana came. Only some degraded Brahmanas, they became professors in Banaras Hindu University. And slowly, slowly it continued. But all the intelligent, the high standard Brahmanas, they didn't join only the university. They say it's an insult for us. Means the real Brahmana, he cannot work under anyone. It's not possible for him. And a Kshatriya also cannot work for salary. He says, no, I'll create my own kingdom. So this is the scenario. Now all the people are Vaishyas only, mostly. All these politicians, they are Vaishyas. They are not Brahmanas. So And here Dhruva Maharaj is a pure Kshatriya. And that actually helped him. Any quality we have, we work on it very nicely. And with that, we will be able to achieve Supreme Lord. No need to change anything. That's actually one important instruction Suniti gave. Actually, I forgot here to underline. She makes this point actually. Yeah, here she says, becoming purified by executing one's allotted occupation, just situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart. And Prabhupada also gives in the purport same thing. He says to Arjuna also was told the same thing. Go on fighting, but keep me within your mind. So, no need of changing the nature. No idea of changing one's nature. You can be in whatever nature you are. We can execute our devotional service. This is a very important point. Somehow I missed it. So here also same thing. Narada Muni, he will make an experiment of trying to change, but he understands. So in this actually, Supreme Lord guides us to Guru. And here the Kshatriya spirit. So the Kshatriya spirit is explained. The great sage Narada told Dhruva, my dear boy, you are only a little boy whose attachment is to sports and other frivolities. Why are you so affected by the words insulting? Why are you so affected by words insulting your honor? So now Narada is testing Dhruva's determination. Ordinarily, if a child is rebuked as a rascal or a fool, he smiles and does not take such insulting words very seriously. Similarly, words of honor are offered, he does not accept them, appreciate them. But in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, the Kshatriya spirit was so strong that he could not tolerate a slight insult from his stepmother, which injured his Kshatriya prestige. So, this is very interesting. So that time the Kshatriyas were like that. If you unnecessarily insult, you will end up in prison or you may lose your life. So, here Narada is trying to test Dhruva. So first reason he says that you are a child. Just play. And then next he says that, my dear Dhruva, if you feel that your sense of honor has been insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction. This kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of illusion energy. Every living entity is controlled by its previous actions, then therefore there are different varieties of life for enjoying or suffering. So this is for a Brahmana advice. So first he told this is a Shudra. This is for Shudras. They just play. They don't want to do anything, no higher things. So he's telling, okay, you say you are grown up. Then he gave a very philosophical answer. So, no, forgive like a Brahmana. You can forgive like a Brahmana. Why are you taking it so seriously? So we'll see what Prabhupada says. In the Vedas, it is said that the living entity is always uncontaminated and unaffected by material association. The living entity gets different types of material bodies because of his previous fruitive actions. If, however, and yeah, is saying argue like a Brahmana because accept law of karma. Accept law of karma, right? It says that the living entity gets different types of material body because of previous actions. If, however, one understands the philosophy that a living spirit soul, he has an affinity for neither suffering nor enjoyment, then is considered to be liberated person. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. When one is actually situated on the transcendental platform, he has nothing for which to lament and nothing for which to hanker. Narada Rishi first of all wanted to impress Dhruva that he is only a child. He should not have been affected by words of insult or honor. And if he were so developed or to understand honor and insult, then his understanding should have been applied in his own life. He should have known that honor dishonored both destiny and one's own previous actions. Therefore, one should not be sorry or happy under any circumstances. So, accept your destiny then. If you are thinking you are not a child, you are very matured, then actually instead of forgiveness, we should only tell this part. Accept your destiny. So we will, yeah, I think, any questions or comments? We have so much information we got today. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much. We'll end here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्णा.